Hello, friends, and welcome to Lizzie Art Stuffs. Today, I actually have a little bit of a treat for you guys. I am drawing a unicorn, and I am including my sketch process. I don't normally include my sketch process, mostly just because I feel like it's kind of long, because I make a lot of mistakes and I do a lot of erasing. And normally I really enjoy the watercolor portion, and that's the part that I really want to share with everybody else. But I sat there and I was like, all right, well, some people might actually want to see the drawing process, might want some help with that. I mean, granted, I don't know if anyone's coming here for help, but hopefully you're here for the entertainment value. So, but right here we have just me doing a lot of the sketch work here. I do end up erasing that front leg in particular quite a bit. I think I had kind of some trouble with it just because with horses, they tend to have like, you have the head and then the neck arches over, and then they have really broad chests and big shoulders because, I mean, they have long legs. They need all those muscles to move those legs, like they're huge. However, you have to get the proportions right because their chests aren't as big as like birds, and they're not super wide. Like, they have deep muscles, but they don't have like insane muscles that they're not hulking out or anything. So I had to go through and I had to correct myself a couple of times on a lot of my placements and things like that. It was an interesting position for a horse. I haven't really drawn one before, so I think this horse was in the middle of turning when the reference photo was taken. And I say that I think he's in the middle of turning because I haven't quite drawn it yet, but he has his backmost leg is skidding in the dirt in the reference, and it's spraying up dirt in the direction of the camera, making it look like the horse is actually possibly shying away from the camera, trying to put in a sharp turn. So it ends up giving quite a nice angle for the horse. However, it makes the feet have kind of an interesting placement. Interesting in an almost unfortunately bad way, because it's a little trickier to draw than normal horses. And I say that because, like, I actually used to draw tons of horses. Like any 10-year-old girl, I was utterly obsessed with them back in the day. And I even had an email with unicorn in the title once upon a time. So, good times. Everyone made fun of me because it was before unicorns were cool and trendy again. Gosh dang it, I missed that stupid... I missed the trend. I missed it. I was just too young. But the good news is that it has served me well, and now I can share all of my equine knowledge with you guys now, which is pretty stinking cool. And that also works out because back when I was 10, I didn't have a YouTube channel. So, here we are, everybody. And you can see I've got some of these chest muscles going through, and that's kind of what I was talking about, where you can see kind of the deep chest muscles, and you can see that kind of V at the neckline. Yeah, horses are muscly beasts, I tell you what. And it now officially has a horn, so it is a unicorn and not just a horse. I ended up figuring out, though, that I placed that horn way too far back on the head. I sat there and I realized that the horse was completely profile, and when they're profile, the horn should start like at the edge of your drawing, and I drew it like it was back here. And so unless the unicorn is like, which it's not, I knew I had placed it in the wrong place. So I corrected that, thankfully, and I went through and I drew the ears, and right here I'm just kind of outlining the mane. I'm actually going to be going through here in a second with my handy dandy kneaded eraser, which, if you are unaware of what a kneaded eraser is, yeah, see, this is the blank spot where I was like, Lizzie, you need to tell people what's going on. So I went through off camera and I used a kneaded eraser, I patted the drawing down, and I lifted off a lot of the excess graphite. So now you'll see it's super pale. All the lines are still there, they're just a lot fainter, which I used an HB pencil to begin with, so it was already fairly light, but this makes it so that the pencil lines will become nearly invisible when you see them next to the saturated color of the watercolors. So it's all done on purpose, I promise. And kneaded eraser, my friend, this is amazing. When you want to just lift off a bunch of graphite off your drawing so that you can do watercolors like this, just leave it like a blob and pat, and it'll lift off more the harder you press, so just lightly pat until you get your faintness that you can still see it, because that's very important. If you can't see it, you're going to paint outside the lines. Or you can actually like shape your kneaded eraser so that it's got like a pointy end. And I've actually found this to be more accurate in erasing than standard like #2 pencils, because like those erasers wear down and you'll have like that big rounded area that erases just way too much. So I definitely recommend kneaded erasers, and plus kneaded erasers, they don't wear down your paper. Because when you erase with a regular eraser and you have all those little like eraser shavings, that's not just the eraser, that's also bits of the paper that you're shredding away. And when you use a kneaded eraser, you don't have that. It's like the kneaded eraser senses where the graphite is, and it's like, I will only take this, thank you. And it's amazing. So, highly recommend the kneaded eraser. So as far as the drawing, so I went through and I was like, okay, I want a greeting card, I want a unicorn, and I knew that I wanted like the front on the front and the back on the back, so that we had this cute little thing where like you open the card and there's a full unicorn. I thought that that would make kind of just a fun little surprise thing for whatever person may want to buy it at the upcoming Magna Arts Festival. Which, P.S., for those of you that didn't know that there's a Magna Arts Festival here in Magna, Utah. Well, I say here, even though I'm not technically in Magna. But there is a Magna Arts Festival. They got tons of booths and stuff and lots of games and stuff for kids. So it's a family-friendly event, and I highly recommend people attending, especially because I'll be there and I'll be selling stuff and I can say hi to people. I'm also handing out free stickers, so you should come for free stickers, if nothing else. Promise, they're super nice. Oh, so back to my drawing really quick. So I went through with a blue watercolor brush pen. If you're not sure what a watercolor brush pen is, it's this marker thing that pops up occasionally and lays down some marker, and then I just go in with a brush and spread water over it and make it look flowy and beautiful. It's kind of funny because whenever I end up using the marker, at first I'm like, wow, this looks stupid. Why did I draw with this? But then once the brush with the water comes through, I'm like, oh, never mind, it's fine. It looks lovely. So it's, I swear, it's an anxiety. It's an anxiety game. You have like the, oh no, this looks terrible, and then, oh, just kidding, I did okay, and then, oh no, it looks terrible again, and it's all right. So it's a little bit of a roller coaster. I ended up saturating the feet quite a bit because with horses, their muzzles and their feet tend to be a darker saturation, or they tend to be in shadow as compared to the rest of the horse. So definitely something that I wanted to convey there with kind of a monochromatic blue and white thing. I also had to, there's actually it's kind of funny, you can almost see me pause when I went over the belly because I got near the legs and I was like, wait a second, I colored this recently, I don't want my colors to bleed everywhere. And because I waited, there's actually a really nicely well-defined hip to belly curve right at the bottom of the drawing, so I'm really glad that that read through okay. Some other things didn't. I mean, for every one time I remember to like wait until the drawing dries, there's like 5 more times I don't remember and stuff bleeds everywhere, which to be fair is kind of the nature of watercolor anyways, so sometimes it's perfectly fine and it's just like, well, this adds more character to the drawing and I actually kind of like it, but other times it's so obnoxious. So I should let you guys be aware, the device that I was using to record did start running out of space, so you're actually going to see some jumps coming up here relatively soon. it's kind of a long story on why I ran out of space. I should have just used something else, but my webcam, although it takes fine like videos of just like me talking at the camera, for some reason it just goes super blurry when it's trying to film my drawings. So I'm not sure exactly how to remedy that yet, but once I do, we will Hakuna Matata the thing away and it'll be great. So here we have me working on the tail. If you haven't drawn a horse tail before, you have not experienced freedom of art. Or you have experienced freedom of art and I'm just opinionated. I really enjoy just the flowiness. You read both the weight of the hair against the rise of the wind, and there's lots of direction, there's lots of movement, there's lots of expressiveness in it. Definitely one of the things I love drawing now is hair. It used to be one of my most hated things. Absolutely. Like, I could not stand it. But then I practiced and I read up and I researched and I figured out how to draw it. And once you figure out how, it becomes something that's actually kind of fun. And for me, I really wanted to blend together these pink and purple hues within the mane and tail. I felt like that would read really well with keeping the unicorn kind of a blue color and then going a solid purpley color for the horn. I feel like that would kind of tie together the mysticalness of the unicorn. I've actually drawn another unicorn for the Magnet Arts Festival on a postcard, and it was a purple one. That one I just went straight purple because purple's my favorite color, and I felt like I wanted to draw something that I wanted to draw. So that's what ended up happening. Oh, and I'm going in directly on a puddle of water that's on the horn at this point, putting the brush pen marker directly onto the puddle. It made kind of an interesting effect. It does bleed and spider a little bit, but the ink stays more in one place than you'd initially think it would. So it's definitely something you have to monitor for yourself a little bit. But, alright, so I lost most of the line art. I should warn you guys. So you're going to see me do like a little bit of line work and then it's like, ta-da, it's done! But don't worry, I can pinky promise it's mostly just me going through and like outlining, and anyone who can trace can do it, I promise. So it's all easy work and not something that's like insanely hard. Oh, but I'm going in here with the background. I went with yellow. I've noticed a lot of unicorns lately have been trending with like a pink and a blue and a yellow kind of thing. I don't know. I thought it seemed really nice and cheerful, and plus, like, unicorns are supposed to be magical, and I've seen magic represented by the color yellow quite a bit, so just saying. It seemed like the perfect background color. And also, you guys, can I just say, like, I got to hear the audio of all of these clips in fast forward, and it is stinking hilarious to hear yourself singing along to like music that you're listening to in fast forward. Because not only was it not fantastic singing, but it was in fast forward, and I was just like, oh, this is if the chipmunks all had a terrible day and just sang to their heart's content. Oh my goodness. But it gave me a good laugh. Trust me, it was good stuff. One of these days, maybe I'll do an entire video of just fast forward me singing stuff, and it'll be great. We'll call it art, and this is Art Stuff's channel, so it'll fit in just fine with everything else. Oh, and I ended up drawing in a little vein on the unicorn's face. It was actually something that was in the original photo as well, but I just felt like it added a lot of character to the face and really gave it a little more expressiveness and some of that almost equine softness, weirdly enough. Here's the final product. Like I said, we skipped through that whole outlining phase, but hopefully you guys had a good time. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing everything. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe below. Thanks so much for watching.